Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Good afternoon, Steve. Welcome back to the Friday at 4 episode 101. How are you?
I'm doing well, Chuck. 101, huh? Wow. All
101.
right. Next century, we have started.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
101, information 101. Wait a minute, that's what we do for every episode. We can't just make this one a 101 information episode. Every episode is an informational episode.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's good
This one's going
stuff.
to be interesting. I like this topic that you and I have been throwing around. I think it's pretty cool. Do you have a customer or a lead? It says a lot. A couple of words, but it says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, so there's a couple of things that go with that. One is it a customer or lead, which I think we all know which is which, okay? But more than that, or not necessarily more, in addition to that, is you get a lead, or even if you have a customer, how often and how do you follow up with those people, those businesses?
Yeah.
And there's a wide range of ways that people do this. There is no perfect answer. So let me say that right off the top.
I'm glad you said that because I
Just
was struggling with that as well. It's like everybody has their own opinion on
they do.
when, how many times, time of day, time of week, time of month, time of year, blah, blah, blah.
It is.
Right?
It's true.
It's information overload on how and when to follow up on a lead,
Right.
right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, okay, it really depends on the relationship you have with the person. Again, lead or customer, doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
the relationship you have with the person. So
Hmm.
if I call Chuck and we have a phone call, a Zoom, whatever we have, and in person, and we leave it off well, in my mind, and I learned this from a heavy duty sales coach who's amazing, he said, and he's right, in my opinion, he's right. When that conversation is over, before you end the conversation, what is the next action step? Which means, when are we going to speak next? When are we going to Zoom next? When are you going to deliver the next document to me, or I'm going to deliver it to you? Always have an action step and a time frame to get it done. Because if you say to somebody, I'll get back to you, or I'll call you next week, you're done. You're done. Out of sight, out of mind. Pick up the phone. Hey, Chuck, how are you? And Chuck goes, who are you, Steve?
Who are you?
And that's what's going to happen because
Yeah.
you left it in the void. And in the void, it just goes poof and it's gone.
Yeah. Now, I could be wrong by saying this or doing this. I don't know. I know I'm getting a little ahead here,
No,
but
go
I
ahead.
want to say it. But I want to say this real fast. Is that I know you know that when you speak to someone and you start maybe saying what you're doing, the value you have, how you help somebody, whatever that conversation is, you can pretty much tell within a couple of seconds or maybe a minute, I'm not going to follow up with this person because they're not interested. I've had that feeling that when I
Yes.
talked to somebody, when I walked out, I said there was no sense in me saying, so I'll call you in 2 or 3 days, or I'll call you next week to follow up on my assessment that I gave you. I just kept moving because I realized that
Mhm.
was a waste of my time.
And you don't know that walking in.
Yeah, you really don't,
You
right?
don't.
Yeah.
But part of that whole process, and I'm still a work in progress, okay? But part of the process says I have a conversation with Chuck. That conversation should be about Chuck.
Yeah.
That first conversation should be about Chuck. Tell me about your business. Chuck, tell me what keeps you up from a business perspective at
Mm,
night.
yeah.
Chuck, if there was one thing that you could improve to make your business better, what would that be? all
Absolutely.
about Chuck.
Yeah.
The second call, meeting, whatever, is Chuck. So let's get together. Is next Tuesday at 3 good for you? And Chuck says yes. And then I'll say, Chuck, I'm going to come back. I've taken notes. I understand more about what you do. Let me come back next week at the time we just agreed to, and I'll give you some thoughts and let's continue the conversation.
Mhm.
That's how the conversation should go.
Yeah.
Now it's about them because everybody wants to talk about themselves. They have agreed to a next date time to meet, and you're going to come back with something of value to them.
Yeah.
Because if, and again, this has happened to me time and again, if I sit there in meeting one and say, hey, Chuck, I think you got a great business and I can offer you this and I can do this and I can do that, they're going to say, sales pitch.
Yep.
Have a great day. No, I can't meet tomorrow. I can't meet next week. In fact, I can't meet until the year 2410. Okay. Because,
2130.
yeah, because they see sales pitch.
Yeah.
But if that first meeting, Zoom, call, whatever it is all about them,
Yeah.
and then at the end say, Chuck, I really love what you told me about your business. So it's
And
great that I'm going to learn more about your business. And again, I've taken notes. I'm going to go out, take a look at what I have. I'll come back in at the time we agreed to meet next week, whatever day and time we agreed. And I'm really looking forward to getting back with you. Thanks for your time. And out you go. So what that whole process did was they talked, which everybody likes to talk. And I probably said this already, but I'm saying it again. They like to talk. Um, you've listened to them. You've taken notes. It's not a sales pitch. You're truly there to help them. And that will, in most cases, get you that second discussion where you can bring up and say, so Chuck, last week when we met, you told me X was a concern. Well, here's a potential solution for you to solve that problem X. Most people are going to say, that's awesome. Let's talk about it. So you've gotten everything you wanted. Now, if that first meeting says, hey, Chuck, I looked you up online. I saw you got these kinds of problems. I can help you. Number one, yes, you did your research, but number two, you're telling them, hey, you got issues, buddy. Nobody wants to hear that. And then the
yeah.
third piece is, I can help you is the sales pitch. Strike three, and guess what? You're out. You will never get a second opportunity. So
Yeah.
that first interaction is so important. So now we get into, again, how often do you follow up and what do you say? So in that case, that first discussion, the follow up you agree to. As you continue talking to customer X, in this case, Chuck's my customer. So as I continue to talk to Chuck, each time I have that interaction, phone call, Zoom, in person, I need to bring value.
Huh?
The day that I call Chuck and say, hey, Chuck, hope you're doing great. Just checking in. The next thing you're going to hear is click and a dial
Like,
tone.
right.
Nobody
Nobody cares.
wants to hear just checking in.
Right.
That is a waste of time for
Yeah.
them.
Hey, I just
And
want
it
to follow up
translates.
with you. Right.
So the idea, you can call up and say, hey, Chuck, I was just wondering how you are doing with, and give them a specific something. So you're now asking them and following up in a better way.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
just say checking in, again, you're gone. So you've gotten that phone call through, which is a plus. But now it's how do you use that 30, 60, 90 seconds with the customer to your best advantage,
Right.
which really is
Yeah.
theirs. But if you don't use it right, you're not going to get that 30, 60, 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So every follow, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, sitting here thinking about everything you're saying. My first time around with my mystery shopping company, I never had this problem because I got very, very lucky. I would send an email, "Hey, I'm a mystery shopping company. I want to show you my proposal." They reply back, "Yeah, sure. Let me check it out." I send it to them. They go, "Oh, yeah, I'm in. Where do I sign?" No joke. It
Hmm.
was that easy. I
Wow.
did not have to fight for any customer.
You got lucky.
And the few times that I had to go in person,
Hmm.
I had a printed out copy of it. They
Hmm.
sat down, they looked at it. I had a blank proposal, I had a blank contract. Boom, they signed. This is what I want. This
Nice.
is what I want, how to do it. And they just were like, it was amazing. So I got very, very lucky.
You
This time
did.
around, I am listening to you because I got to figure this out.
Okay, so I am part of one of several groups, but one in particular. The person who runs the group created several pieces of software. And one of those pieces, and I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because I'm not pushing products here. That's not what we do, and you know that. Although I will say to everybody, if you're interested, contact me and I will give you the one-on-one of what it is. But I don't want to go crazy here because, again, we're not pushing products.
Yeah.
But what this product does is you enter a person's name and let's say their business and some other information, and then you set up a follow-up date. And what it does is it said, oh, and you also put in some of the person's or the business's interests, hobbies, things about them. All goes into the system. It's like keyword searches, right? So now you set a follow-up date. Let's say the suggested time frame is every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, you pull up because it gives you reminders. You pull up Chuck's name or the person's name. In this case, you're my customer, right? So it pulls up Chuck's name and it says, okay, here are his interests, his hobbies, his whatever. And then it gives you, based on AI, things that are of interest to that person. So in that 2 week period, or on that 2 week anniversary, if you will, you can then pick from a list articles, events, something of interest. You attach it, put it into an email, and it's Chuck. Please see attached article I thought would be of interest to you. Steve, send. 2 weeks later, maybe you send an invitation or a notice of some event, some meeting. Chuck, thought this meeting would be of interest to you. Steve, send. What you're doing is every 2 weeks, and it's his research he's done. That's why it's in his case, it's 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
But he's giving you this whole ecosystem of how to stay in touch. And as I said earlier, every contact you make has to add value. You may not get business today or 2 weeks from now or 2 weeks from then, but when they are ready, they're going to remember you because you're constantly top of their mind every 2 weeks. You're adding value. There is no sales pitch. So when they have the need for your product or service, they're going to call you.
Yeah.
And that's the idea
Yeah.
behind this. And there's a whole bunch more that comes with it, but that's just the
Right.
highlights. But
Yeah.
it's in a phenomenal, it's a set of 3 or 4 or 5 different um, applications, if you will.
Yeah.
But they work together. They're great. Use it all the time. And that's how I set myself up for whether you're a lead or you're a client.
Right.
And again, it goes back to the same thing. There is no magic formula of how quickly or slowly that you call somebody or contact somebody. And there's always that fine line. Do I go too quickly and risk being basically, sorry to say it this way, but do you want to become a pain in the ass? Okay. Or,
Right.
or do you want to go so infrequently that they forget you between calls. And there's that fine line of which end do you go?
Yeah.
So in this case, for this application, he says, and based on his work for years that he's done this, he says every 2 weeks. And I've done it and it works. But
Yeah.
you're staying on top of mind. The application gives you current articles. It gives you current. You don't have to even do the research. Click, attach it to an email, out it goes. You're done. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
You may have seen me sitting here on my phone just for a split second ago with my head down. I wanted to tell you that I just made a note about something because as you were speaking this, it gave me a brilliant idea for my business
Hmm.
or to way to market myself without
Okay.
selling. Because the keywords that you said, right? Add value. If you're not adding value to someone, you're trying to sell your product or service without adding value. Hey, look at me. I got this widget. Just buy it. And people are like, now get out of here. But with
Yeah.
this system you're talking about, with adding value to an email, to a text, or whatever,
Hmm.
calling somebody, because I envision different ways to do that.
Right.
That's how my mind works. How many different ways to kind of pull that off. You just gave me a brilliant idea, and I'll share with you, off of this
Yeah.
podcast because
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think it's brilliant. You just made my mind go,
Okay.
you
Glad I
know,
could help you. Okay.
yeah, but I love that you said that because I want to tie my Star Performance Index assessment to stuff like that. I want to be able to reach out to people and say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Here are some
Mhm.
key pieces of data for you.
Right.
You know, Let me know how I can help you further. Let me show you what I can do, even a deeper dive, or whatever it's going to
Right.
be for that particular business, whether it's a
Right.
restaurant or a bowling alley or whatever, or a financial
Mhm.
service advisor like you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even if you're giving a couple of pieces of data on that initial interaction, contact, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If 2 weeks later, again, assuming it doesn't take you, and I don't know if it takes you, I don't think it takes you a lot of time, but if you went back into that business and showed him or her, what changed in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Now, the
Yeah.
challenge is at some point, you're giving them today and 2 weeks and 2 weeks and 2 weeks. How many 2 week intervals do you go is the question before you say,
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything. Um,
Well, here's the brilliant thing about my business is I have stuff that I can do for year and 2 year intervals now. Because I
okay.
have potential people I can reach out to that I've known for a year and 2 years now with
Okay.
my podcast, with all this data I
Mhm.
have.
Right.
So I can really show some people how things have
There you go.
changed
Yep.
or not changed.
Right.
You're still doing the same things you did 2 years ago. Let me help you, you know?
Right. Right.
So yeah, brilliant, right?
Even if you did even not in every year, even if you did every 6 months,
Six
every
months, quarterly.
quarter, every
Yeah.
quarter,
Yeah. Quarterly.
in the last
Yep.
quarter, you haven't improved at all.
Yeah.
If you want it,
So real quick, um, I want to touch on it real quick before we close up here. Lead client. At what point do you say, or how do you know the difference, right? When you're talking to someone, what does that transition point look like from a lead to a client, right? It's not always about the yes, right? It's not always about the I'll think about it. There's got to be something that
Mhm.
clicks that say, well, I talked to Steve. I'll put him as a lead. Now it's a client. What does that conversation really quick look like? Where that
The-
transition goes from that
then it
Steve
turn
was a lead, now
a
Steve's a client.
lead turns to a client when business is done.
Okay. Okay. So
That's when
you're
a lead turns
saying
to a
when
client.
you sign that contract, right?
Right. When they're going to pay you for the services you're going to perform, now they're a client. So
Mhm.
that could include a verbal, which I don't suggest. Typically, there's
Right.
some type of document that says these are the services I'm going to provide. This is the time frame. This is what you're going to pay, when you're going to pay, how you're going to pay. So it's a formal contract. I wouldn't suggest doing it without it because then it leads open to we agreed, no, we didn't agree. I'm going to pay you, no, I'm
Oh,
not going to pay you, and you
a
don't want to
whole
go there.
bunch of issues, all
Don't
kinds
want to
of
go there.
issues.
Um, but
Right.
when the lead and you have enough of a relationship and enough of a trust, and you're adding that value that they want. And
Yeah.
that's where it comes out to. So here's your business. You're doing, I don't know, X, and you want to get to Y. And we agree that I can help you get to Y. Okay. So now, in order for me to do that, let's set up how, when, cost, and all those things.
Right.
And when they agree, put it into writing, and then they become a client when they sign the dotted line and you get paid.
Oh, makes
That's the
sense.
client.
Yeah, like I said, this is all new to me, right? Because it just got so lucky first time around.
Yeah.
I didn't have to fight for anything. I had a client in Texas.
Mm,
I never talked to them. I emailed them. They said yes. They sent me a check every week.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was blessed. I'm telling you, I was blessed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was blessed. It was so smooth. And you know what?
Mhm.
And I got to really pat myself on the back for this because I think my proposal was really good.
Mm,
And when people read that, they would ask me, "Who wrote this?" I said, "I did." And they're like, "Wow, that's impressive." And yes,
mm.
before AI, before anybody had
Yeah.
to do anything for anybody, I wrote that all by myself, and I still have it. And I can share it with you to show you how good this thing is.
Wow.
It was impressive. However, if you look at my website now, under
Mm,
Star Performance Index, you'll see some of that coming out of me now to where I've got something up there that talks about what I do in my assessment, you know. So yeah, it was a miracle. I was blessed, you know, and I'm trying to get that going again with this business, but
you
it's been
will.
tough.
You will.
It's been
You
tough.
will. But it all comes down to the same thing, whether it's a lead or a client. It's
Yep.
all about the added value. Because if you don't add value, then you're just like everybody else
Everybody
out
else.
there.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you differentiate? Because most people are out there for the sale and then they forget you.
Yep. I
But if
know.
you add the value before the sale
Yeah.
and then you make them feel special afterwards, and
Yep.
it could be in the beginning, it could be a once a week. Are we on schedule? Is what I'm
Yeah.
delivering to your liking something? Then you can go every
Right.
2 weeks, then every 4 weeks. And at that point, it's, hey, Chuck, it's been, in the last month, are you on track with this particular thing? Do you need
Yeah.
any tweaks? I've been looking at the data. How can we add, again, how can we add extra value? Because extra value means more billing.
Yep. Yeah. I
So
got
it's,
a good I'm going to work on. So there's this one restaurant that I focused on, I told you about that I kind of left and like, I'm never going to follow back up.
Mhm.
They opened up a new location. So that's a win for me because
There
now
you
I'm going to
go.
go to the new location,
Right.
compare it to the old location,
Yep.
show her the old location, the new Star Performance Index assessment,
Right.
compare it to the new one and say, look, now you've got three pieces of data here. Well, yeah, I got something for you, you know? So yeah, so I'm going to make
Yeah.
this work, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a great topic, right? What a great podcast.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this
I
was,
think it was.
it's good information. I do apologize, to the audience where it's a big storm here and it's dark out there. I lost power. So Steve and I are trying to get through this. Um, it's been a mess. So I
That's all right.
apologize.
We'll get it done.
Yeah, we're getting it
We'll get
done.
it done.
Yeah, I think, this was the information I needed to really
Hmm.
help make me understand, the difference between a lead and a
Hmm.
client and key things to listen for as well. To like you can listen to a person say, are they going to be a lead or are they going to be a client?
Right. Right.
Maybe I should to not touch that, right? So yeah, I mean, you know,
Hmm.
maybe we can touch bases on again another future episode when we have more
Yeah.
time. I don't have a storm brewing up here and things happening.
Yeah. Little things like storms.
I know, right? 516-727-2294. D, reach out if you need help.
All
Financial
right.
services.
Thanks. And if you need Chuck, 410-935-6132. let him come into your business and see how he can help you. His years
My
of
SPI
experience
is
will
getting
help you.
powerful, buddy. Thank you. My SPI is getting powerful. I'm getting
It
there.
is.
There's a lot of companies out there kind of doing what I'm doing, but they're only using your website with AI. I'm taking it 1,000 steps further. Just
Good.
give me a chance. I'll show you.
Yep. All right. Good
Absolutely.
deal. You got
Yeah.
it.
Steve, another great episode.
Yep.
I know we got cut short, but it's okay. I think it was okay because the information is there.
Yep.
This is a good topic, a good short topic.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
No, we are good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Right.
Hey,
You
we're going
got
to
it.
end this Friday at 4 because
It's 4:00 somewhere.
4 o'clock somewhere. I love it. Steve,
Yep.
have a great rest of the Friday. Have a great
You too.
weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You got it. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Steve,
Bye.
it's been another great episode, buddy. I'll see you. Take care, everybody.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
See ya.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.